Hi guys, it's Michelle with Deception Bytes, and we have a ginormous Q drop today to go over. I have been looking into it for most of the day today, and just to try and get a handle on this, and I feel I'm ready to present what I have. But of course, it always takes all of us. I don't have all the answers, as I've said many, many times, and there are also other researchers out there that are doing really great work. So sometimes it takes listening to two or three to really get a full picture. But let me present to you what I have. Now, I am not sure in the last video if I included this plane picture or not. I can't remember. So I'm just going to touch on it very briefly. This was posted by Q. It's a picture of a plane either landing or taking off. And let me make this a little bit bigger because I know some of you are on your phones. And it's not a really clear picture, but wherever this picture is, this plane is taking off or landing, it's foggy and the weather doesn't look to be the greatest. Now underneath, Q has said yes, confirm, bravo, TK, and then numbers. I would assume that TK means Turkey, the country Turkey. So, because, you know, the food Turkey just wouldn't make sense, would it? Anyway, so let's go on from there. This obviously has some importance. I don't know if anybody else has decoded what that actually is or where it is or not. I have not found it. So let's go on to what was posted today. February 10th, 3:33. Rest in peace, Mr. President, JFK. Through your wisdom and strength since your tragic death, patriots have planned, installed, and by the grace of God, activated the beam of light. We will forever remember your sacrifice. May you look down from above and continue to guide us as we ring the bell of freedom and destroy those who wish to sacrifice our children, our way of life, and our world. We, the people, JFK, secret societies. And I guess I missed this. Prayer said every single day in the OO, which I would assume stands for Oval Office. That would make sense to me. So then he says JFK, secret societies. However, at first when I read this, I said, wow, that's a little bit odd. He misspelled societies. But after looking at this more in depth, it was not a mistake. It's not a typo. He did that on purpose. It's missing the E. And we'll get into that in a few minutes as to why I believe that that's not a typo. Where we go one, we go all. Q. Now, JFK, secret societies. What do you think he's talking about there? Well, this is what I think it is. And let's go out to this website. And I'm not going to play all of this because I really don't know of very many people that are into conspiracy theories that have not heard this speech. It's one of the best, I think, ever. And well, let me just play a few minutes of it because I'm sure you've all heard it. If you haven't, you can go out and Google it, and there's any number of places where you can hear it.
Ladies and gentlemen, the very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society, and we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings. We decided long ago that the dangers of excessive and unwarranted concealment of pertinent facts far outweighed the dangers which are cited to justify it. Even today, there is little value in opposing the threat of a closed society by imitating its arbitrary restrictions. Even today, there is little value in ensuring the survival of our nation if our traditions do not survive with it. And there is very grave danger that an announced need for increased security will will be seized upon by those anxious to expand its meaning to the very limits of official censorship and concealment. That I do not intend to permit to the extent that it's in my control. And no official of my administration, whether his rank is high or low, civilian or military, should interpret my words here tonight as an excuse to censor the news, to stifle dissent, to cover up our mistakes, or to withhold from the press and the public the facts they deserve to know. For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations. Its preparations are concealed, not published. Its mistakes are buried, not headlined. Its dissenters are silenced, not praised. No expenditure is questioned, no rumor is printed, no secret is revealed. No president should fear public scrutiny of his program, for from that scrutiny comes understanding, and from that understanding comes support or opposition, and both are necessary.
Now I'm going to stop it there because I really think that most of us have heard this, and this is something that if you'd like to hear all of it, because it is phenomenal. I think it's one of the best speeches in history. Then you can just Google that and find it any number of places. This is, I can actually put the link to this website as well in the descriptions for you to make it easier. So let's go back to where we were. So, and sorry, I forgot to mention one thing here. Notice here that secret societies is spelled without an E. Do you think that's a coincidence? I don't think it is. I really don't think it is. So now let's go back. So, where we go one, we go all. Q. So let's go on from here and look at the next one. And the next post is very odd because it has the two square brackets and an E in it. Is this the E missing from secret societies? Since it's in a kill box, because Q has already told us that these two square brackets is a kill box. So the E is in a kill box. Does that mean E is missing? Is E dead? Is E a target? Are they within the kill box? I don't know. I really don't know, but he's going to keep dropping clues, so let's keep pushing ahead. Now, the next post is a 5 in a kill box. Is E number 5? That would be that's the first thing I thought about. Okay, E, well, secret societies is missing the E. This website that shows JFK's that shows JFK's speech on secret societies is also missing the E. Then the very next post, he has an E. Well, to me, it's like, okay, that's the missing E. And then 5, and then the next thing he says is 5. Well, E is E number 5 because E is the 5th number in the alphabet. Or is this meant to read E5? I don't know. I'm just putting my ideas out there. I'm not saying that anything I'm saying is absolute fact. It's a theory like everything with Q. So, and it's as good a theory as any, I would imagine. So let's go on. The very next post is a kill box with a minus sign in it. Subtraction, whatever. Is E going to be taken out? Since these follow one another, I think they're all related. E, 5, subtract. E is the 5th number in the alphabet. Is E number 5 in a list of people? I don't know. Is he going to be taken out? Is he going to be rubbed out, subtracted, so to speak? Again, I don't know. But he's going to keep dropping clues. Now, the next picture he shows us, coincidentally enough, is an E. So we know that he's keeping at it. He keeps dropping hints, because if there's one thing I know about Q, he, she, or them, they want us to get it more than we actually want to get it. They're going to keep trying to get it across to us until it clicks. And I found that to be true, because there's a lot of things when I first started doing this I had no clue about that now I look back on and go, oh my gosh, yeah, that's easy. Because it makes sense, because after so many clues, you finally go, oh yeah, okay, I get it. So, E. Now, to me, and probably to anyone that's traveled a lot, this looks like a terminal sign in an airport. To me. It might not be, but that's what it looks like to me. So is E terminal? Is E going to be terminated? Does he have a so-called expiry date? I don't know. First of all, we don't know who E is, or even if it is a person. We know that E is number 5, and we know that, it's, I don't know, taken away, subtracted, killed, I don't know. So let's push on. Next we have a picture. You probably figured that out as soon as this came up. You probably said, you know what, that right there is a picture. And it is, yes, indeed it is. Okay, let me make it a little bit bigger, because I know I'm always getting complaints about it being too small, and I know it's got to be a hassle trying to see this on a phone. So this was posted at 4:10, and it is a picture, as we've already determined. And what is he wanting us to see? Well, I know people have focused on this building back here, but I don't believe that that's what he's wanting us to see. I think that he's wanting us to see this, Assumption College. So, where is Assumption College? And then underneath, Q asks us, what's going on in Asia? Q. So that's obviously a hint about this picture, that it's going to be somewhere in Asia, and there's something going on in Asia. What? Well, maybe it's something at Assumption College. Could be. I just don't think that, personally, if Q did not want us to look at Assumption College, he probably would have blacked that out so we didn't know what the building was or something, because, he's trying to drop clues that we're going to get. So he would know that we would immediately see Assumption College and assume that was it. That's my thinking. Perhaps my thinking is flawed, but that's what I think. So let's, I think let me make this smaller for a bit, because I think I had some notes on that, and I did. Now, okay, regarding Assumption College, which is the picture we just looked at, Assumption College is formerly known as the Assumption Covenant, and it's a private Roman Catholic school exclusively for girls. Let me make this bigger and scroll over here. So it's a private Roman Catholic school exclusively for girls, located in San Lorenzo Village, Makati City, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, Philippines. Established in 1958, Assumption San Lorenzo is the successor of Assumption Covenant along Haran Street, Ermita, Manila. It provides education from preschool, elementary, secondary, tertiary to graduate level. The alumni and present students of this school, important, include daughters and granddaughters of presidents, industrialists, politicians, and prominent figures in the Philippines. So obviously that's important. Now, why that's important, I don't know, but something's going on in Asia. Otherwise, Q would not be asking us that. What is going on? So, okay, well, let's take a look at what is going on in the Philippines. And just 1 second here, we're just going to go out and take a look at this. Wow, it's 26.5 degrees Celsius. Boy, I'd love to be there. Okay, this comes from the philippinesnews.net, so I would assume that it's correct, although one never knows anymore. But here's the Philippines president, and he asked to be shot instead of jailed. Wonder why that would be. Well, we're going to find out. Manila, Philippines, following the announcement made by the International Criminal Court, ICC, that it was launching a preliminary examination into the alleged crimes committed during Philippines President Rodrigo Duterte, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, war on drugs. I'm sure you guys can read that, and if somebody knows how to pronounce it, they can put it below. The firebrand leader responded to the announcement. Responding to the statement made by the chief prosecutor of ICC, I'm just going to call him the president, okay? The president said that ICC could go ahead and investigate him for crimes against humanity. The president, however, added that he would prefer to face a firing squad than be jailed. The leader, notorious for his defiance of international pressure, also questioned whether the ICC had jurisdiction to indict him over the deaths of thousands of Filipinos in his war on drugs. However, the president maintained that he denied ever giving an order to the police to kill drug suspects. On Thursday, let me just scroll down here a bit. On Thursday, the chief prosecutor, Bensouda, said in a statement that the ICC is opening a preliminary inquiry into alleged crimes committed during the Philippines government war on drugs. Bensouda added that ICC would look at reports and allegations of extrajudicial killings and added, since 2016, I have closely followed the situations in the Philippines, adding that after a careful, independent, and impartial review, I have decided to open a preliminary examination. She also said that her office would analyze crimes allegedly committed since at least 1st of July 2016 in the context of the war on drugs campaign launched by the president. She said specifically it has been alleged that since the 1st of July 2016, thousands of persons have been killed for reasons related to their alleged involvement in illegal drug use or dealing. Many were allegedly extrajudicial killings carried out during police anti-drug operations. Ever since he took power, the president's policy of endorsing such killings as part of the drug war has drawn widespread international condemnation. Bensouda also stated that her office would analyze alleged crimes committed in the context of the government's war on drugs. She added specifically, it's been alleged that since July 2016, thousands of persons have been killed for reasons related to their alleged involvement in illegal drug use or dealing. While some such killings have reportedly occurred in the context of clashes between and within gangs, it is alleged that many of the reported incidents involved extrajudicial killings in the course of police anti-drugs operations. Now, I don't know. Oh, sorry. Back up here. Now, I'm not going to read, I'm going to skip over some of this, but the president also said that it was doubtful the ICC had jurisdiction in the Philippines because its accession to the ICC Rome Statute in 2011 had never been announced in the country's official gazette, which is required to be considered lawful. The president also vented his anger at allegations of extrajudicial killings during his campaign. He said, "What is extrajudicial killing? There is no provision for extrajudicial killing. It is not defined anywhere. According to officials, about 4,000 mostly urban, poor Filipinos have been killed by police in the president's signature campaign. However, activists have argued that the death toll is far higher and have accused police of systematic cover-ups and executions. So, that's in Manila. Now, whether it's related or not, I don't know, but it's evident that the president there is corrupt. You may have also heard in the news recently about the luxury cars that he confiscated because they were illegal imports into the country. And he confiscated these cars, totaling, I don't know, I think there was maybe 25 of them, and they totaled, their value totaled $1.5 million. And they took a big bulldozer and they just kind of crushed them all, which is kind of disheartening to look at because these were, massively expensive cars. But anyway, I just remember seeing that in the news. So that's one thing that's happening in the Philippines. Now, what else? Oh, and then there's this, which could be massively important because it kind of ties in with some of the later posts here. Now, and look at that, it's still 26.5 there. It's like the temperature hasn't changed in like 3 minutes. Okay, this guy, he's Russian, and he definitely looks Russian, doesn't he? With the blue eyes. And anyway, not that that matters. Thai's arrest alleged Russian cybercrime market operator. Bangkok police in Thailand announced Friday they have arrested a Russian national accused by U.S. authorities of running an online cybercrime marketplace where everything from stolen credit card information to hardware for compromising ATM machines could be purchased. Police say Sergei Medvedev was arrested at his Bangkok apartment on February 2nd at the request of the U.S. authorities. I also have been looking into who may have been arrested or killed in Shanghai because of Q's, that's in the last video in Q's posts, but I haven't found that out yet. So, but I keep digging. Now, the U.S. Justice Department on Wednesday announced indictments against 36 people accused of being active in the InFraud organization, founded in 2010 and operated under the slogan, "In Fraud, We Trust," which was an anonymous online forum that the department described as a one-stop shop for cybercriminals. It said it had nearly 11,000 members who traded more than 4.3 million credit cards, debit cards, and bank accounts worldwide, leading to losses of more than $530 million for legitimate users and businesses. Now, I really happen to think that this is what Q is referring to. Now, I don't know the tie-in with the Assumption School. I don't know. But I really think that this may be, I shouldn't say I really believe because I don't know. It's a theory like anything, but I think this could be what he's alluding to. Now, let me see if there's anything. On Thursday, 13 of the wanted persons were taken into custody across the globe, including in California, New York, and Alabama. Suspects arrested in France, the United Kingdom, Italy, Australia, Kosovo, and Serbia are awaiting extradition. Medvedev will be extradited to face prosecution in the U.S. Now, remember that Q, let me go back and show you here. It was a number of posts, and it was on the last video where he said number 10 is here. And somebody actually sent me an email and corrected me, and I really think that they're right, because when they said number 10 is here, I think that I think it's the one before this. Yeah, top 10 player, here now. Now, I think personally, well, I shouldn't say that. I think personally because somebody sent that to me in an email, and now I think it, but I wasn't thinking it at the time, that when Q says here now, he's saying they're on U.S. soil now. They've been extradited to the United States. And perhaps that plane was part of it. Showing that plane was maybe showing that that person was being extradited back to the States. So I don't know, but it's as good a theory as any. So let's go back up here and find where we were. And we were here. So let me go back out to this website. Now, so 13 of the wanted persons have been taken into custody. And how many did they say there were altogether? 15? I'm just thinking now because it's kind of tripping some other things that I remembered reading. But so let me see if there's anything else here. Police statement said officers were able to arrest Medvedev by performing stakeouts, behavioral analysis, and by investigating his online activity. Thai police are tracking several other similar online syndicates. Last year, Thai authorities arrested the alleged operator of FEB, a massive dark web marketplace where illicit items such as narcotics and guns could be sold or purchased by anyone. Unlike Infraud, which vetted its members, the alleged FEB administrator, 26-year-old Canadian Alexander Kazis, was found dead in his Thai prison cell shortly after his arrest, a suicide by hanging, according to Thai police. Those darn suicides. They happen a lot, don't they? Okay, so let's go back and continue pushing on to the next one. Okay, JFK con room. I would assume that means conference room. And then Q gives us a link, which we're going to go out to. And he says, would you believe this site is actually used to communicate to rogue operators at Snowden? Now, let's go out and see what this is and see if it could be used as a site that used to communicate to rogue operators. I could see that happening quite readily after looking at the site. Now, this is apparently for kids, Kid Zone, and it's for them to learn about decoding and, to try and play CIA here. So these are, this is the code, this is the message right here, and you've got to try and decode it, okay? And it tells you how to decode it. It says, beginning with the first letter in the coded message, select it from the drop-down letter list. Well, here's the drop-down letter list, so let's select G, because it's the first letter. Where are you, G? And then you press decode. So G is T. So let's just try. We're not going to do the whole thing. I'm just going to do the first word. And G, S is the next one. So S, decode, H, so we've got a TH, and then V, decode is E. So the first word is the. Now, couldn't you see somebody using that as code, and then they come back here, the person that receives it comes back here to decode it? I could see that happening. I really could. Now, and here's another code. And it tells us how to decode it. It says no need for a decoder, just pick out every third letter. Use all capital letters when entering your answer. So it's asking us to find, and I haven't gone through and done that because I don't have that much time on my hands. And then there's a third code, and this one is beginning with the first letter. It's basically the same as the first one, except now they're using letters. So 4, you go into 4, and then you put decode, and it's a T. So same sort of thing. And this one, can you unscramble this message? Hints, the numbers in the sentence are correct. All of the other words are scrambled. The answer begins with the and ends with DC. Use all capital letters when entering your answer. So these are all just different types of codes, and it's asking And this one, it's the same thing. You find that dot and you press decode, it'll give you the letter. So these are just all, So yeah, I could see this being used, these codes being used. I really could. I don't see why not. Be pretty effective. Not many people would be able to figure it out. I mean, some would. So let's go back. So he wanted us to take a look at this and he said, would you believe this site is actually used to communicate to rogue operators? And he's saying at Snowden. So this is directed at Snowden. And I think it's kind of, in your face sort of thing, like, like I know that you're doing this. And then he puts John inside the kill box. Well, who do you think that might be? Well, I think it has to do with John Barry Barlow, because John Barry Barlow made a statement that talking to Snowden is better than sex. Yes, he sure did. So I don't know what kind of sex he's been having, but obviously it's very poor. So, I'm just saying. So anyway, let's go to the first link so I can remind you guys who John Perry Barlow is. And it's this guy. John Perry Barlow, Grateful Dead lyricist and internet pioneer, dies at 70. The news was announced by Electronic Frontier Foundation, which is, he was partly, I think he was either the founder or one of the founders. Barlow co-founded and promotes freedom of expression in digital media. In a blog post on its website, the foundation's executive director, Cindy Cohen, wrote that Barlow passed away quietly in his sleep. I bet he did. I don't believe that for a second. Barlow co-wrote songs with members of the Grateful Dead. Okay, that's not what we're interested in. In addition to songwriting, Barlow was heavily involved in activism for digital freedom. He co-founded the EFF in 1990 and has been credited with first coining the term cyberspace in its current definition that same year. He wrote essays about the impact of the internet for multiple publications, including Wired and the New York Times, and his 1996 essay, A Declaration of the Independence of Cyberspace, has been long circulated across the web. Now, of course, Snowden also worked with him, and I think you guys probably know that. So, let's continue on to link 2, where I will show you when it comes up eventually. Just closing out of some of these. Speed it up. Okay. I will show you this quote. Talking to Edward Snowden is the next best thing to sex. Oh, okay. He didn't say it was better than sex. I'm sorry. Forgive me. I misquoted. He said it's the next best thing to sex. So I'd say that Edward Snowden, talking to him is just pretty darn exciting. Now, this is a podcast and we're not going to listen to it, but it's out there. If you want to Google it, it's a whole podcast. I haven't listened to it yet. I haven't had time to, but it's interesting because it says this week on Truth Dig Radio in association with KPFK, the poet and activist says his friend Edward Snowden's mind is like cool, clear spring water. Also, Robert Scheer on President Obama's, okay, well, that's not what this is concerning. So there's other things that they're talking about on this podcast besides just Barlow and Snowden. So let's push on. Now, the next thing that Q says, and notice that John is bolded there. So this is something that's important, and I honestly think he's talking about John Perry Barlow because the connection with Snowden is there. And then he says cold. Now, and forgive me because this should be in red. These are my words, not Q's. And I want to always distinguish between them because I don't want anything misrepresented. So Q says cold. Now, back in 2013, Russia was accused of playing sinister Cold War games with the U.S. surrounding the mystery of the whereabouts of NSA whistleblower Edward Snowden. So they were accused of playing sinister Cold War games concerning Snowden. So does that have anything to do with cold? I don't know. It might. It might not. And then he signs off, as he always does, Q. Now let's go back up, push through to the next one. And this was at 5:15. And Q said, clown black ops sites. Now, clown, of course, is always referring to clowns in America, CIA. So he's saying CIA black op sites. Asia, goodbye, Q. So what is he saying? He's saying they're taking down black ops sites in Asia. Goodbye. Now that ties in with what we read about the arrest of that guy being brought back to Canada, that Russian guy that was running that In Fraud We Trust foundation or whatever organization. So Q is telling us CIA black ops sites, they're being dismantled. Asia, in Asia, goodbye, Q. Then we get to this, and this is interesting. Thank you, Dopey. King to pawn. Eyes on, Q. Now, we know that Dopey is Prince Al-Walid bin Talal, and we know that because Q told us. So whenever we see Dopey, that's who it's in reference to. He literally went from a king to a pawn. He went from a prince to a pauper. His assets were frozen, and it's interesting because he says, thank you, Dopey. Now, this is right after he said, clown black ops sites, Asia, goodbye. Thank you, Dopey. So to me, this is telling me that Prince Al-Walid bin Talal is singing like a bird, and he's trying to do anything to get in good graces or to lessen whatever, I don't know. But I think that this intel on this came from him. King to pawn. He's a pawn now. He's a pawn in the game. And I think I'm not sure who he's directing this to, eyes on, but it's like, okay, stand to attention, be alert, keep an eye out. Maybe he's talking to Al-Walid. I don't know. Or maybe he's talking to the people that have him under surveillance. Could be. But let's push on. Now, the next Q post, and you have to admit, these are a little bit interesting. Well, not a little bit interesting. I find them fascinating today. And I wanted also to note that I'm seeing in the messages, the comments, I'm seeing a lot of comments about, you're just buying this hook, line, and sinker. Sometimes I delete them, sometimes I leave them, but I don't know why people are assuming that because I'm going through these and decoding and trying to look into it, that I necessarily believe every single thing. I don't know. Time will tell. I don't buy anything hook, line, and sinker. And I don't think you guys do either, or else you wouldn't be looking into this. I think that we're all doing the same thing. We're looking at this. We're trying to decode it. We're trying to understand it. We're seeing correlations in the news. We're not going to see everything that goes on behind the scenes, and we're not supposed to. And I don't even know if I'd want to. But anyway, I think that we are keeping an open mind, and we are just riding this out. We're riding the Q train, seeing what it's all about. And I think that's all right. So anyway, let's get on with this. You will cease to exist. Now, who he's talking to here, not quite sure. But I think it's pretty plain to see that he's saying, we will kill you. You will cease to exist. We will take you out. Then he says, truth to power. Well, interesting. Speaking truth to power means believing deeply in what you say and fighting every day to have that heard. It may not be popular. It means taking a risk. It means standing for something. And this is actually, if you Google it, you'll see that this is actually a saying that's out there, truth to power. I had never heard it, but I did Google it, and that's what I found. It means believing deeply in what you say and fighting every day to have that heard. May not be popular, it means taking a risk, it means standing for something. So I don't know who he's addressing that to, other than probably patriots, or those fighting on behalf of patriots. How's the bunker these days? Well, let me get to the rest of this first, and then we'll look at what this possibly could mean. How's the bunker these days? 14. Whoops. Sorry, this should be in red. I just don't want there to be any confusion there. Okay. He's saying 14. And then he says hello. PEOC force failed. Q. Well, let's go from the bottom up because it'll make more sense. PEOC force failed. Well, what is PEOC? It's Presidential Emergency Operations Center. And it's a bunker underneath the White House West Wing. And let me just link you here so I can show you right quick. You'll know I'm not lying. Here we go. Presidential Emergency Operations Center. It's a bunker-like structure that lies underground, beneath the East Wing. I'm sorry, I misspoke. Beneath the East Wing of the White House, and serves as a secure shelter and communication center for President of the United States and other protectees in case of an emergency. Originally constructed for Franklin D. Roosevelt, not that that matters. September 11th, during the September 11th attacks, then Vice President Dick Cheney, Lynn Cheney, Condoleezza Rice, Norman Mineta, Mary Madeline, Louis Scooter Libby, anyway, all these people and other staff, including a U.S. Army major who was with a White House fellow, were evacuated from their offices in the White House to the PEOC. In popular culture, dramatized versions of the PEOC were featured in the 2009 film. Well, we don't care about that. So that's what it is. It's a secure place where either the president or other protectees can gather in case of an emergency or in times of an emergency. So let's go back. And here we are. Now, PEOC force failed. So was someone in the PEOC and there was force to get in and it failed? That's how I read that. That someone was in there, either the president or a protectee was in this bunker and they tried to use force to get in and it failed. That's how I read that. Now, I could have it backwards. Maybe there was bad people hiding out in there and they tried to use force and it failed. I don't know. I don't think so. I think it makes more sense the other way around. And then Q says, hello. He's just saying, we see you. We've got you in our sights. You're within the kill box. So I really think that, okay, you're our target. We see you. And then number 14 is in brackets. Now, what this number 14 is, I don't know. But 14 is within their, obviously they're looking at this live because they're saying, hello, we see you. 14, they're looking at him, her, it, they, live, and is within their sight, the kill box. 14 is next target. That's how I read that. And again, I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. I've been wrong many, many times. And I've been corrected as well in the comments, and I appreciate that because I don't want to be giving out false information. I don't think I have all the answers. I know I don't have all the answers. How's the bunker these days? Now, I don't I really don't understand this, because who is he asking this? How's the bunker these days? Because the PEOC is a bunker. So is 14 in the bunker and they tried to use force? I don't know. I really don't know. But then he says truth to power, which I read to you what that means. You will cease to exist. We will kill you. And I think that truth to power is meaning they're going to do whatever they have to do, even if it's not popular, even if it's having to take a risk to stand for something. And their goal is to kill whoever this is. We will kill you. You will cease to exist. Now, if you guys have any thoughts on who this might be, or who he might be talking to, or the situation involved here, we know that PEOC is Presidential Emergency Operations Center. Okay, we know that. We know that whoever 14 is, they're a target, and they're not a good person, I wouldn't say. And then how's the bunker these days? I would love to know what that person is talking about, because, or who that person is, who Q is talking to there. But I'm going to move on. We can speculate in the comments. Now, the next one is February 10th at 5:30. Seals are wonderful creatures. Now, of course, he's talking about Navy SEALs, which, of course, are real crackerjacks. I mean, they're the best. Heard they work fast at capturing their prey. Now, we know what that means. I don't think any of us need that explained to us. And then prey. Silence is golden. Corona offline. Deactivated at 0000 hours, which is midnight, I believe. Yeah, pretty sure that. In military time, 0000 is military time for 12 midnight. Corona offline. Games are fun. Now, notice here too, he puts R instead of ARE. Games are fun. That means something, but I haven't figured out what it means yet. If any of you have any ideas, or if you've heard on other channels people talking about this, and they have a better grasp on this, then please do comment. And he signs off Q. Now, let's go to this link, because what is Corona? Some of you may already know, and some of you may not. The Corona program was a series of American strategic reconnaissance satellites produced and operated by the Central Intelligence Agency Directorate of Science and Technology with substantial assistance from the U.S. Air Force. The Corona satellites were used for photographic surveillance of the Soviet Union, USSR, the People's Republic of China, and other areas beginning in June 1959 and ending in May 1972. The name of the program is sometimes seen as Corona, but its actual name, Corona, was a code word, not an acronym. Now, this is saying that it's deactivated, or it's what does it say? That it ended. This program ended in 1972. So I don't see maybe how this could, connect to this, but maybe Corona is an intelligence system that has been deactivated or something. I don't know exactly what it is, but I bet you some of you guys in the military may know, or even some that aren't in the military. But whatever Corona is, it's offline. It's been deactivated at 0000 hours. Games are fun. Q. Don't know. But that's what he's talking about. Silence is golden. This is some sort of a communications thing. I don't know if it's what it is, but it's got to be, because it says silence is golden. And there's silence because it's been deactivated. So anyway, I'm going to move on to the next one. Now, February 10th at 5:46, Q said, "Mess with the best, die like the rest." I think that's pretty self-explanatory. 2, highly classified clown ops exposed. Now, I think he's meaning there were 2 high classified clown ops exposed, at least I think. 44 remaining. Now, I'm wondering, President, well, he's not president anymore, but Barack Obama was number 44. Is he saying that Barack Obama is remaining, or is he saying that there's 44 classified operations still remaining to come down? It could be either. And then he said wizards and warlocks, which we've already touched on in numerous posts in the past and numerous videos, so I don't want to weary you. Save the best for last. And then he has P in capital letters, in a capital letter, and he signs off Q. Now, I happen to think, and I could be totally off the mark, I think P stands for Michael Richard Pompeo, or Pompeo, however you pronounce it. And he is an American politician and intelligence officer serving as director of the Central Intelligence Agency since January 23rd, 2017, after being nominated by President Donald Trump. Because he's saying right here, save the best for last. P. So I don't necessarily think that he's alluding to him in a negative way. I could be wrong. I could be wrong about the P. It could be Pelosi. I doubt it. I don't know why she would be the best. She's certainly the best long-winded person I've ever seen. Ever. Like, ever. 8 hours. Wow. I can't even imagine. I find it hard to talk for an hour. Anyway. Okay. Now, so I think that we've exhausted this post, except that this is still up in the air. It might be him, it might not be him, but that is my guess. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So if any of you guys have a better scenario for this, then please put it in the comments below, because they're always welcome, even if it's diametrically opposed to what I think. Your comments are welcome. The only time I delete comments is if they're rude, really rude or abusive, and use extreme foul language, or if a lot of people just leave a link to their own videos, and you're not doing that on my channel. It's okay if you put an explanation like, oh, this ties into such and such that so-and-so mentioned, and put a link. That's different. But if you're just trying to plug your own channel on, no. A lot of people will just put the link with no explanation. They're just a link there to their channel, and So anyway, but there's also people that find valuable things, information on other people's channel, and I don't mind that at all. So there you go. If you put an explanation of why you're leaving that link, then it's different. So, okay. Now, the next post that oh, sorry, I was just about to skip over this. He puts a 3 here, and he puts www.globalleaks.org. And no, it's not a company that makes adult diapers. I'm just kidding. I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about. All right, let's go out and take a look at this. It would be a good name for an adult diaper company, though, wouldn't it? Global Leaks. Okay, this is the website that he leads us to. And it is the Hermes Center for Transparency and Digital Human Rights. Whistleblowing Technologies, Empowering Truth as a Human Right. And Forbes says, global leaks won't have any central point of failure. Who is this? This is like very, very small. Anyway, they say their project aims to make a suite of software to maintain a whistleblowing platform. Tor to Web is a positive step for those who want to publish anonymously without sacrificing the exposure. And so let's see their about page here. See if we can gain a little bit more knowledge. Our mission is to promote and develop in the society the awareness of and the attention to transparency and accountability, be they related to the society at large or not. Our goal is to increase the citizens' involvement in the management of matters of public interest and to boost the active participation of workers and employees to the correct management of corporations and companies they work for. According to the Hermes Center for Transparency and Digital Human Rights mission includes supporting and development free software with the purpose of increasing the freedom of speech online and more in general the protection of rights, blah, 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 supporting and developing the whistleblowing free software solution named Global Leaks, aimed at private and public organizations, which shall be free to adopt the same software for their initiatives. Taking part in associations or organizations which share the same goals as the Hermes Center for Transparency and Digital Human Rights in the field of promotion and protection of civil liberties, anonymity in a connected world, whistleblowing, freedom of speech, and investigative journalism. But my question is, what if they have something in that software? I don't know. Maybe it's not so anonymous as you think. I don't know. And it says the Hermes Center for Transparency and Digital Human Rights, in order to pursue its goals, may decide to apply for membership in other organizations and or to cooperate with entities whose mission does not conflict with the goals of the Hermes Center for Transparency and Digital Human Rights. I don't know. So, let's go back out here. Now, the first thing I saw was the name Hermes, and that piqued my interest because Hermes is very, very important in occult and secret societies. And who was Hermes? Well, Hermes was the emissary and messenger of the gods. Hermes was also the divine trickster and the god of boundaries and the transgression of boundaries, the patron of herdsmen, thieves, graves, and heralds. He is described as moving freely between the worlds of the mortal and divine and was the conductor of souls into the afterlife. In some myths, he is trickster and outwits other gods for his own satisfaction or for the sake of humankind. His attributes and symbols include the Herma, the rooster, the tortoise, satchel or pouch, winged sandals, and winged cap. So it's interesting that they named it that. Now, why Q is bringing this to our attention, I don't 100% know, but I would think that they're not a good organization. There's something nefarious about them, or he wouldn't be bringing it to our attention. So there you go. Now, what the 3 stands for, I don't know. I don't know. Now, the next one is a link as well. So let's go out to that and see what Q's trying to tell us here. Well, looky there. Look who we have there. Exclusive. Google, CIA, invest in future of web monitoring. Interesting. The investment arms of the CIA and Google are both backing a company that monitors the web in real time and says it uses that information to predict the future. The company is called Recorded Future, and it scours tens of thousands of websites, blogs, and Twitter accounts to find the relationships between people, organization, actions, and incidents, both present and still to come. In a white paper, the company says its temporal analytics engine goes beyond search by looking at the invisible links between documents that talk about the same or related entities and events. The idea is to figure out for each incident who was involved, where it happened, and when it might go down. Recorded Future then plots that chatter, showing online momentum for any given event. The cool thing is you can actually predict the curve in many cases, says company CEO Christopher Alberg. a former Swedish Army Ranger with a PhD in computer science, which naturally makes the 16-person Cambridge, Massachusetts firm attractive to Google Ventures, the search giant's investment division, and to In-Q-Tel, which handles similar duties for the CIA and the wider intelligence community. It's not the first time Google has done business with America's spy agencies. Long before it reportedly enlisted the help of the National Security Agency to secure its networks, Google sold equipment to the Secret Signals Intelligence Group. In-Q-Tel backed the mapping firm Keyhole, which was bought by Google in 2004 and then became the backbone for Google Earth. This appears to be the first time, however, that the intelligence community and Google have funded the same startup at the same time. No one is accusing Google of directly collaborating with the CIA. Well, I am. Heck yeah, I am. No one's accusing Google of directly collaborating with the CIA. Well, what the heck else would you call it? Anyway. But the investments are bound to be fodder for critics of Google, who already see the search giant as overly cozy with the U.S. government and worry that the company is starting to forget its "don't be evil" mantra. Cozy with the U.S. government? I'd say they're like totally in bed. Wow. Okay. America's spy services have become increasingly interested in mining open source intelligence, information that's publicly available but often hidden in the daily avalanche of TV shows, newspaper articles, blog posts, online videos, and radio reports. Secret information isn't always the brass ring in our profession, then CIA Director General Michael Hayden told a conference in 2008. In fact, there's a real satisfaction in solving a problem or answering a tough question with information that someone was dumb enough to leave out in the open. That's really nice of him, isn't it? U.S. spy agencies through In-Q-Tel have invested in a number of firms to help them better find that information. Visible Technologies crawls over 500,000 Web 2 sites a day, scrapping more than 1 million posts and conversations taking place on blogs, YouTube, Twitter, and Amazon. Atensity applies the rules of grammar to the so-called unstructured text of the web to make it more easily digestible by government databases. Keyhole, now Google Earth, is a staple of the targeting cells in military intelligence units. Looky there. Recorded future strips from web pages, the people, places, and activities they mention. The company examines when and where these events happened, spatial and temporal analysis, and the tone of the document, sentiment analysis. Then it applies some artificial intelligence algorithms to tease out connections between the players. Recorded Future maintains an index with more than 100 million events hosted on Amazon.com servers. The analysis, however, is on the living web. We're right there as it happens, Alberg told Danger Room as he clicked through a demonstration. We can assemble actual real-time dossiers on people. Recorded Future certainly has the potential to spot events and trends early. Take the case of Hezbollah's long-range missiles. On March 21st, Israeli President Shimon Peres leveled the accusation that the terror group had Scud-like weapons, scouring Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah's past statements. Recorded Future found corroborating evidence from a month prior that appeared to back up Perez's accusations. That's one of several hypothetical cases Recorded Future runs in its blog devoted to intelligence analysis. We are living in Minority Report. I'm telling you, we really are. If you've ever seen that movie. But it's safe to assume that the company already has, just interrupting there for a second, except in Minority Report, they were getting their intelligence from empaths. They were real human beings, but here we're getting our intelligence from artificial intelligence. So, but we really are. We're living in the age of the Minority Report. Anyway, if you haven't seen that movie, it's worth seeing. Both, In-Q-Tel doesn't make investments in firms without an end customer ready to test out that company's products. Both Google Ventures and In-Q-Tel made their investments in 2009, shortly after the company was founded. The exact amounts weren't disclosed, but were under 10 million each. Google investment came to light earlier this year online. In-Q-Tel, which often announces its new holdings in press releases, quietly uploaded a brief mention of its investment a few weeks ago. Both In-Q-Tel and Google Ventures have seats on Recorded Future's board. Alberg says those board members have been very helpful, providing business and technology advice, as well as introducing him to potential customers. Both organizations, it's safe to say, will profit handsomely if Recorded Future is ever sold or taken public. Alberg's last company, the corporate intelligence firm Spotfire, was acquired in 2007 for $195 million in cash. Google Ventures did not return requests to comment. Oh, I bet they didn't. And it says here, just because Google and In-Q-Tel have both invested in Recorded Future doesn't mean Google is suddenly in bed with the government. Oh, really? What does it mean? Please tell us. Of course, to Google's critics, including conservative legal groups and Republican congressmen, the Obama administration and the Mountain View, California company slipped between the sheets a long time ago. Google CEO Eric Schmidt hosted a town hall at company headquarters in the early days of Obama's presidential campaign. Senior White House officials like economic chief Larry Summers gave speeches at the New America Foundation, the left-of-center think tank chaired by Schmidt. Former Google public policy chief Andrew McLaughlin is now the White House deputy CTO and was publicly, if mildly, reprimanded by the administration for continuing to hash out issues with his former colleagues. What do you call that? I'd call that being in bed with them. I mean, am I missing something here? No, seriously. Like, come on. They think we're all idiots. Anyway, in some corners, the scrutiny of the company's political ties have dovetailed with concerns about how Google collects and uses its enormous storehouses of search data, email, maps, and online documents. Google, as we all know, keeps a titanic amount of information about every aspect of our online lives. Customers largely have trusted the company so far because the quality of their products and because of Google's pledge not to misuse the information. And I believe them, don't you? Anyway, I'm not going to read all of the rest of this. But to me, whether this is troublesome or not depends on the degree of transparency involved. I don't agree with that. It's troublesome. I don't care if it's how transparent. It's troublesome. I don't want my stuff collected. I really don't. Anyway, okay, let's push on because I'm getting angry. And so should you. No. Okay, let's, this is the last one, the last post, although it would not surprise me that Q has been out there posting up a storm while I've been recording this. So who knows? February 10th, 6:33. And look at how much time there is left in the night for him to still post. So I don't know. This could be one of two. Public, FBI, DOJ, OWHSD. So what he's saying is public, FBI, Department of Justice, Office of the White House, and the State Department. Public. And then he says private. Clowns, clowns, clowns. Clowns, clowns, clowns. I hate clowns, by the way. Not that that has anything to do with anything, but I really, really despise clowns. Okay, now this is what I think he's saying. I think he's saying that the takedown of the CIA is going to be private. So whoever in the CIA is being cleaned up, that's going to be kept private. And that would make obvious sense to me. But it's going to be private, those people in the FBI, the DOJ, the Office of the White House, and the State Department. Now, that would make sense to me as an interpretation, but again, I've been wrong. I've been wrong before, and I may be wrong now, but that's what I believe. And then it says, expand your thinking. And that's, a famous, Q says that very, very, very often. So expand your thinking. queue. And that concludes the post for tonight, although, as I said, I'm not sure that he's done. So I'm going to go check on that, and I hope you guys enjoy your Saturday evening. And I will talk to you guys later. Please, if you want to stay subscribed to my channel, you have to keep checking, because they are desubscribing people without their permission. So if you want to stay subscribed, please check and make sure that you are. And I thank you for you guys. I really appreciate it. Appreciate you listening, and I appreciate your comments. And I will see you in the next video.